right. So this week I've worked on adding error handlers and retries to all triggers in Windmill. Until now, we only had the possibility to do it for schedules, and we wanted to generalize the options to all the new triggers we've added in the past month. So the interface is similar at the bottom of trigger editor. Oops, sorry. I cannot access it anymore because of my navbar. Sorry. Okay. Here you have the advanced option for the HTTP request, but you have these two new tabs, which is error handler and retries. Like for schedules and workspace, you have the built-in Slack and Teams ones for I think it's enterprise only, and then you can specify a custom one. And in addition, you can also specify the retries. This is the same interface you have also in the flow builder. Once you've set this, you will simply see the difference. So I started a new job using the trigger I've just shown. Let's see if it will appear. Yeah, perfect. So we see here that it has been tried 3 times, and that the error handler has been run. And I can show you on Slack that it is right here. So as you might have noticed, it actually the script has been like wrapped in a flow. This is how we handle it as well for retries for schedules. And it's basically because we reuse this logic, but it's equivalent to basically like if you didn't have any wrapping flow. We also handle preprocessors pretty well as well. And yeah, as I said, it's for all the triggers, and we hope it's going to be helpful. That's all for me. Diego, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Let me share my screen. Okay. So the assets that I've shown last week have been merged in main. So yeah, it's cool. I briefly talked about it last week, but I'll do a quick reminder. So you can add assets like this. So it can be like an S3 file, for example, and it will show up in the graph as an input asset node, and you can explore the file like so. It also works with resources, so you can add, for example, a Postgres resource, and you can explore the database in here. So yeah, pretty cool. And it auto detects if it's a read or write. For example, it detected that this is a read of a file, so it's automatically in the read, and it shows as an input node. But if I do something like write to S3 file, it will show as an output. So it's really cool because it makes data visualization really clear. Like you clearly see that this is an input, this is an output. Yeah, and sometimes you cannot like know what you did with the asset, so you have to specify manually whether it's a read or a write or both. Yeah, so when you deploy the script, it will save these assets. And you can see where your assets were used in the assets page in here. So you can see that I used 2 assets. Yeah. Same thing in the script editor. So you can. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it, but it works with TypeScript, Python, and DuckDB for the moment. So yeah, same thing. You can do that, and it will auto detect, and it will see when your assets change. Yeah. I think
Diego, maybe you can spend more time on the also showing the flow builder, the work that Guillaume did.
Yeah, I'm going back to that. So unfortunately, I haven't prepared this much, but let me do something really quick. Guillem did a real nice feature, which is testing the flow directly in the flow editor. So have this button, and if you press it, you can see like live that everything's going well. And like for example, if this one froze for some reason, it's Python. If this one froze, yeah, you can see the status, and it's quite cool. Also, that I think there's something like if you I haven't done this feature, so I don't know everything, but there's something like if there's a suspend. Oh, let me remove the throw. If there's a suspend, yeah, it will actually ask you to resume here. So if you add a form, for example, and you request a value, you can then put the value right in here and then resume the flow. So yeah, pretty cool. Hats off to Guillem for that. Yeah. I don't know if there's any more to show. Maybe Alex, you want to go next?
All right, I can go next. Yeah, this week there was a bunch of new customers coming in, so there were a lot of side tasks or side quests for me. But I did some good progress on Git sync. I'm basically really finalizing the pull request, so cleaning up, making sure I don't have unused code, as there was a bunch of refactoring I've done recently. So I think it's a good time to kind of show you the current state. So let me share the window. All right, so I'm not sure if you can already see my screen. Got my new laptop, so okay, perfect, great. So yeah, now we have multiple. I mean, previously in Git sync settings, you had one global settings with Git repo overrides, which kind of made it a bit confusing. So now you have the same settings per Git repo, so you can have multiple Git repos with their own settings. This will all be backwards compatible, and one thing that will make life easier at the initial setup is that you can not only now select, your GitHub repo through the GitHub app installation, that was already added, but then you can, if the repo hasn't been initialized, you don't have to now on the terminal clone the repo and run some CLI commands, but you can initialize and push all the current files that you have in your workspace according to the settings you define here to your Git repo. So it's really useful for initializing. On top of that, I added some functions where you can pull the settings from your actually Git repo YAML file. So for example, in our Git repo, we have include groups to we have them set to true and settings to true. So we see that there's a divergence between our current settings here in Git sync, so you can basically just apply it locally. So yeah, this basically helps you keep your Git repo settings in sync with what is in Windmill. And at the same time, I also improved the experience on the CLI. So let me share that quickly. One thing to note in the UI you've seen before, previously we weren't able to sync settings, so Windmill settings from the workspace, so workspace settings, an encryption key to your Git repo with Git sync, meaning if you're a workspace admin and you changed something in the settings on Windmill, it wouldn't trigger an automatic push of those settings to the repo as it does for scripts and apps and flows, etc. However, on the CLI, you had the possibility to push and pull settings. So basically, I made sure also that in the new feature we'll have them pushed via Git sync as well. So now here we have. Let me switch to this terminal. We basically have my local locally pulled Windmill workspace. And here, what we added is now support for overrides, like repo-specific overrides. So you have the old format for your includes and excludes, etc. But now you can basically override repo-specific settings. So for example, here we have include settings true and include key true, whereas the default is false. So if, for example, you do a windmill, I'm just going to type it, git sync settings pull, and you don't pass like the repo or anything, and there are multiple repos configured on your workspace, it will prompt you for another workspace, and then you can say replace existing settings or add an override. So here we added an override. We can go to here. We see that the override is added, and now if there's any type of confusion when I do a push, for example, it will prompt you to ask to which workspace you want to push, or based on which settings you want to push. So that will be helpful if you have multiple instances, let's say a dev instance and a prod instance, and you have, for example, in the prod instance, you don't want to sync secrets. So when you do a push, it will respect those settings. So this will also kind of make the CLI more powerful. And then you can also, you also have commands that will help you like do a diff of your current settings with what's on Windmill, and allow you to push and pull settings as well. And in general, there are a few like edge cases and bugs that existed in the old CLI that will all be fixed in the new one. So once this is done, I'll make a nice video to make a recommended initialization step, so everything should be more smooth and aligned between what the CLI can do and what the Windmill backend can do. Cool. Yeah. Jeriba, do you want to go next?
Yes. Okay. So this week I was working on a new feature, which is a periodic script that allow you to run a script at the interval that you choose. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So it's at the same place where is unit script. You go and you open the config and you choose whatever the script that you want to be run at a specific interval. The interval is in seconds. For example, the minimum is 60 seconds. For example, I'm just going to create a new directory in my home directory. So I'm just going to set Windmill, apply the change, and as before, it's going to shut down the worker in your environment that the supervisor should restart them. But as I don't have one, I'm going just to restart the server by myself, and then it's going to run. You can see that the job has run, and for example, you can see that the folder has been created because of the script, and it's going to run every 60 seconds, like a unit script. And yeah, that's all. That's all. Your mic is off, Ruben.
I said nice. I mean, all of those are pretty big features. I think something else that we haven't shown is the revamp of the audit logs page that Etienne did. We'll probably show it next week. But yeah, I think even though you might not feel the necessarily a big excitement, it's actually very big features that have been merged. So I'm very bullish on the asset feature and on the improvement on the flow builder. And I think it's gonna really improve the whole developer experience everywhere. So yeah, well, I'll let everyone else have a great weekend. I don't know if there is any question, but I don't think so. So have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.
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 Have a good weekend.